All right, good morning, everybody. This is Mr. Stevens. I'm going to go through and I'm going to talk about the notes for today. We're going to talk a little bit about food chains and food webs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the project that you guys are going to be working on for this week. Okay? So, the expectations for today's lessons. As we move through the lesson, you should be taking notes. Remember that. And then you should be able to explain the different types of organisms found inside an ecosystem. All right? Now, organisms in food chains and food webs. And just remember, whenever we're going through these videos, you can always pause them, rewind them, go back through, watch them a couple times. That's the cool thing about these videos is you can essentially, you can learn every single thing just going through it repeatedly, okay? So, organisms and food chains and food webs. Every living thing on this earth needs food to survive. And because of this, there is an order in which certain types of groups are eaten. So, we have our producers. These are going to be our plants, all right? And they are eaten by consumers, and consumers can even be eaten by more consumers. So, for example, producers, you have grass. A cow eats grass, humans eat cows, okay? But eventually everything dies. And when everything dies, that leads to the production, or that leads to them being decomposed, all right? And when they decompose, that's food for the producers, okay, which consumers eat. Now, the arrow always points in the direction of the way that energy moves, okay? So, what is a producer and a consumer? A producer, they're also called autotrophs. This is an organism that makes its own food from simple inorganic substances, and the way that it makes its food is from photosynthesis. So this would be plants. They get all their energy from the sun. Now, consumers, these are heterotrophs. Okay? They get their food from other organisms. Okay? So you have three types. You have an herbivore, a carnivore, or an omnivore. An herbivore only eats plants, carnivore only eats meat, and omnivore, like us, will eat a combination of plants and meat. Now, this is really important because on your project for today, what you actually need to do is you need to go through and you need to figure out one example of an herbivore, a carnivore, and an omnivore. Okay? So, predation, that is a type of consumer. Okay, that's a carnivore. This is a relationship between two organisms where one organism hunts to eat another in order to survive. Okay, the predator-prey relationship is one of the most important. Predator is the one that hunts, and prey is the one that gets eaten by another organism. Okay, again, in your project, you're going to have to find a predator-prey relationship for a certain ecosystem. And then finally, we have our decomposers. Our decomposers are consumers that get their nutrients from absorbing the breakdown of dead organic matter. Okay? They include funguses or fungi, mushrooms, soil bacteria, even insects. Okay? So you got worms, mushrooms, these little roly-poly dudes, okay? Slugs, molds, things like that. They break everything down and they return it to really simple molecules that plants can then reuse to start the whole chain of energy over again. All right? Now, that stuff's pretty easy, right? We're going through this, types of consumers, okay? Organisms in food chains and food webs. It is not that complex, all right? It's just talking about all the things you guys already know. It's pretty common sense. Now, what you guys are going to do today is this. Your homework for today, and your homework for the next 4 days, essentially, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is you guys are going to do a Google Slide presentation. And in that Google Slide presentation, what you're going to do is you guys are going to take a specific ecosystem and you're going to tell me all about it. All right? There is a rubric. We're going to go over that rubric as well. Okay? But what I want to do right now is I want to go through the Google Slides and show you what this project is. So the project is going to be from today until May 4th, which is Monday. Okay, this is for Miss Ray and my classes. Okay, during this week, you're going to choose an ecosystem and create a Google slide presentation to show how organisms interact with each other and their environment. Now, the first thing you're going to do today is you are going to choose a specific type of ecosystem that you want to explore. It could be a temperate forest, it could be a tropical rainforest, desert, grasslands, taiga, tundra, chaparral, or the ocean. Now, I really don't care what you choose. Whatever you find interesting. If you love learning about the ocean, choose the ocean. If you're really interested in what the taiga is or what the tundra is, okay, maybe do one of those. If you're interested in the rainforest, because there are millions of different organisms that live inside of it, so it's really easy to find different types of food chains, food webs, things like that, you can do that. But the first thing you got to do today is, for slide 1, is you got to choose what you want your ecosystem to be. Okay? Once you do that, you're going to create 6 slides. Number 1 is going to be your title slide. 2 is going to be a brief overview of what your ecosystem is. 3, I want you to tell me some different types of consumers. 4 is going to be showing me a food web or a food chain. 5 is going to be how humans have impacted this. And finally, slide 6 is going to be your CER. This project is going to be due on Monday, May 4th at 8 a.m. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is watch all the videos, attend the Google Meet. I'm going to have a Google Meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. And if you do all those things, it's really going to help you on this project. All right? So let's go through and look at what the actual slides look at right now. Okay, so these are going to be your slides, and I'm actually going to upload this template onto Google Classroom so you guys can see it. Okay, you can go through it, and you can modify this however you want. All right, if you want to change the background, you can do that. The only thing that I ask you guys to do is this: make sure that whatever you put on there, I can read. And I say that because a lot of years what will happen is I give students freedom to do these Google slide presentations, and they will do a yellow background with white letters on it or something like that. It's impossible to read. So I won't even go through and grade it. What I'll do is I'll email you and let you know you need to redo this if you want to receive a grade. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do today is slide 1. You're going to choose your ecosystem. Now, how do you choose your ecosystem? Maybe look on Google and look up some of the examples: chaparral, taiga, tundra, all those different things, those different types of ecosystems, and look and see which one finds interesting. Okay, so on the first slide, all you're going to do is you're going to type in what you chose. Just delete all this, select the ecosystem, and then put your name down at the bottom. This is an individual project. You're not going to do this with other people. One of the reasons is it's kind of hard to predict who's going to log on some days and who's not going to log on. So I can't assign partners. It wouldn't be fair. So we have to do it individually. Now, once you've selected your ecosystem, you're going to go to the second slide. Second slide is an overview of where your ecosystem is located, some interesting facts about your ecosystem, and then including some images here. Now, I'm giving you guys a lot of freedom with this about how you want to do this, with formatting the background, including images. But you can tell a lot of times who put a lot of work into it and who didn't in a Google presentation. Okay, I can tell sometimes, if you've got 3 great facts that you found online, you talk about the locations, you include some great images, the formatting looks good. I can tell if you worked on it hard or not, okay? So the first thing is just going to be your overview. And then finally, by the end of today, what I'd like for you guys to do is find one example of each of the following types of consumers in your ecosystem. So find an example of an herbivore, find an example of an omnivore, find an example of a carnivore, and a decomposer. But they have to be specific to your ecosystem that you're talking about. And again, include some images. Show me what these things look like. Okay. It's interesting. For example, the tundra. The tundra is the coldest of all the ecosystems. It is all the way at the top of the world, essentially. Um, it's really hard to find decomposers there, but they exist. They have to exist. They have to break down dead consumers and producers, okay, to be able to go through and recycle all those nutrients. Now, all I want you guys to get done for today is just slides 1, 2, and 3, okay? Tomorrow, what you guys are going to work on is you guys are going to work on slide 4, where you actually have to find a food web or a food chain, okay? But I'll go through the notes for tomorrow and explain what food webs and food chains are. Slide 5 is going to be all about human impact. I don't talk a lot about human impact. We usually do each year, but we just, again, with everything going on, we don't have enough time. But I still want you guys to explore the ways that humans impact the environment. This will be your assignment for Thursdays, to work on this slide. And then on Friday, what you're going to do is we're going to talk about food webs, and specifically what happens to your food web when the top predator in that food web increases in births dramatically. Okay, what do you think will happen? So here's the deal. If you do slides 1 through 5 and you do a very, very good job on them, the highest grade you're going to get is a 4 out of 5. The only way you can get a 5 out of 5 is by writing a really great 5 to 7 sentence CER on your Google slide presentation. Okay, so remember, today, I want you to get done with slides 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Try to have those done by the end of the day. And again, you guys are given a lot of freedom. If you don't want to work on these today, you want to work on them tomorrow when you work on slide 4 because you're doing something for another class, that's totally fine. Just remember, this is all due on Monday, okay, May 4th, and it has to be in by 8 a.m. All right? If it's not in by 8 a.m., I'll have to drop a few points, do something like that. Okay. Also, I'm working on grading your elephant CERs. Those should be done by today. I should have grades start coming in by today. I had a lot of people submit work, which was a really good thing. So work on this today. Get those notes done. And there's going to be a check-in question. Just make sure that you do that so I can make sure to click that you were in attendance for today. Okay? All right, guys, have a great day. And if you have any questions, hit me up on Google Classroom with a private comment, or you can email me either way. All right? Bye, guys.